I still remember the day I received a call from my daughter's school, accusing her of stealing $20 from a classmate's backpack. I was at work, and my mind immediately started racing with thoughts of how this could have happened. As I rushed to the school, I couldn't help but think about my daughter's innocence and how she would never take something that didn't belong to her. When I arrived, I found her sitting in the principal's office, tears streaming down her face. The teacher explained that the money had gone missing, and the security cameras had caught my daughter near the backpacks. But as I listened to the story, something didn't add up. The principal was quick to suspend my daughter for 3 days, and the teacher seemed convinced of her guilt. But I knew my daughter, and I knew she wouldn't do something like that. As I took my daughter home, I asked her to walk me through what had happened. She told me that she had gone to get her water bottle from her backpack when another girl started screaming that her money was gone. Everyone had looked at her like she was the culprit, and the teacher had immediately searched her backpack, finding nothing. But still, they assumed she had hidden the money somewhere else. I was determined to get to the bottom of this. I started making phone calls, asking to see the security footage and speak with the other student. But the school refused, saying they had all the evidence they needed. I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. That evening, I spent hours researching my rights as a parent. I discovered that the school had violated several policies by refusing to show me the evidence and not allowing my daughter to present her side properly. I felt a surge of anger and frustration, but I knew I had to stay calm and focused. The next morning, I called a lawyer friend who specialized in education law. She was appalled by how the school had handled everything and told me that they couldn't suspend a student without due process. Armed with this knowledge, I called the school and demanded an immediate meeting. They tried to schedule it for the following week, but I told them I was coming in within the hour with my lawyer. Suddenly, they found time in their schedule. As I sat in the meeting room, facing the principal and the teacher, I felt a sense of determination. I knew I was fighting not just for my daughter's reputation, but also for her right to a fair education. The principal and the teacher seemed taken aback by my knowledge of the law and my refusal to back down. They tried to intimidate me, but I stood my ground. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they agreed to review the case and reconsider the suspension. It was a small victory, but it was a start. As I looked at my daughter, I realized that this experience had taught me a valuable lesson. It had taught me to stand up for what I believe in, even when it's hard. It had taught me to fight for my child's rights, even when the system seems stacked against us. And it had taught me that sometimes it's necessary to challenge authority and question the status quo. As I hugged my daughter tightly, I knew that I would always be there to protect her and fight for her. And I knew that she would grow up to be a strong and confident individual, unafraid to stand up for herself and others. But this experience also made me think about the times when I had faced similar challenges. I remembered a story about a chemistry teacher who had made life miserable for a deaf student. The teacher would refuse to write formulas on the board, knowing the student couldn't hear. He would give the student detention for asking classmates for notes, and he would assign extra homework, claiming the student needed more practice. The student's parents had tried to intervene, but the teacher had lied to them, saying the student was uncooperative and using their disability as an excuse. It wasn't until the student got new hearing aids and was able to follow along in class that the teacher's true nature was revealed.